Hi everyone, today is April 26th of 25. In this video I will give you a tour of my orchard, show you which fruit trees are in bloom right now. And I would also like to hear from you. Observe my trees and let me know if your trees are earlier or later when it comes to the bloom, and especially if you are in the same zone. And I am in Michigan zone 6B, just north of Detroit. Same zone in different regions can produce different results when it comes to the blooming. All right, let's start from here. These are my grapevines in the beginning. At the front, they need to be pruned. Oh, by the way, let me just show you this beautiful blooming branch. This is forsythia. I'm using the same shrub for the last 20 or so years, and comparing the blooming time of forsythia, which is, I believe, one of the earliest blooming shrubs in my area, and then I'm judging how productive the year will be. In the case that forsythia blooms very early, some years in my area mid-March, even earlier than that, those years tend to be less productive. Usually in April, late April, we have freezes, sometimes hard freezes below 30, like last year on actually like almost same day, April 25th. It was about 26-7 degrees Fahrenheit, and all of my peaches, nectarine, apricot, even plums were damaged. Only the apples were productive, and some other berries. This year, forsythia bloomed on March 30th, which is in the middle. Some years it blooms late in mid-April, and those are the safer years. So now, observing the prognosis for the next 7 days, it's gonna be in 60s and 70s, even the 80s. So I think we're gonna be safe from freezes this year. All right, if you don't have forsythia, I would maybe recommend to plant one in a corner of your orchard or backyard and use it for the same reasons. And plus, it's very, very ornamental in the spring and during the year. All right, let's start here. My grapevines, they need to be pruned. Let's start, just show you first here. These are the honeyberries or huskups. Very productive berry. I will recommend these to anyone. Even in colder climates, they are very, very hardy plants. They never skip a year with production. Freezes do not bother them at all. Even gumi, that's over here, also same, very, very productive. I don't know if you can see it. They're also very early. It is amazing how hardy they are. Here is my group of figs. These are all hardy Chicagos, and this year they look fine. I think I covered them just a few days ago. Very simple protection, but they look pretty good. By the way, the winter here was quite cold. This year the lowest temperature was -7 degrees Fahrenheit, so quite cold. And hardy Chicago, it was really hardy. Let's start here. Now you can see the spot. I did dig out one of the pears and gave it to my friend of mine. Here I have another pear, Seckel. It is blooming, only a few blossoms, but I did prune it hard not to shade my area for figs. and they are just taken outside, the seedlings of figs here. All right, let's take a look. Well, I'm glad that sun just came. It always looks nicer when the blossoms are in the sun. This is the first tree that blooms, apricot, dark sweet, right there. I even left just to test, trial some of the branches unpruned and to compare them to the ones at the bottom, just to see which one will be hardier to the freezes. I think the blossoms at the top actually did a little better, but even on the bottom they did set nicely. So I will finally have apricots. Apricots are always in a danger of freezes since they are the first trees to blossom. Here is Alberta peach, my latest peach, ripens in September. I'd like to show you from the bottom too, so you can see the shape of my form of my trees. You can see that they are have quite tall trunks, and this is not how they used to be like 15 to 20 years ago. They were more productive. However, I did change to this shape because it works better for me right now. I call it the reverted umbrella. So Alberta still has bloom. Some of them are already gone, but it should be a very good year. One of my oldest trees. Let's check here. I can't see it. I think it's 2003. This is Indian Free. Peaches have one of the nicest blossoms. I'm observing here two different colors. One is deeper pink, almost violet, and the other one is lighter colored. You can see here next to each other. They are so beautiful. This is my favorite time of the year. You're gonna also notice on some of my trees, organza bags, I'm isolating these blossoms to use them for pollination. I'm gonna pollinate baby Crawford. Just like last year, I'm gonna do some breeding program, especially for my apples. Just look how beautiful this is. These are the robins, if you if you can hear them singing in the background. Also cardinals. All right, this is baby Crawford. A little bit lighter pink in color. Will also be productive. Let's take a look. And here at the end, it is a very productive Stanley plum. I have another plum, Požegača, in the front of my house, which is very tall. It used to be almost 30 feet tall. Now I had pruned it to maybe about 20 feet maybe. It is just covered with blooms. These are pure white. And they have very perfumey blossoms. unlike my neighbor's pear tree, which I can smell it from here, does not have the best smelling blossoms. Pears in general do not have. All right, now these two rows are my apples and one nectarine. This is 4-in-1 grafted tree, very old varieties. Apples are coming to bloom later than peaches, so in a few days they will be in full bloom, but still some of them are open. This is very, very productive. One of the best producers that I have, a Liberty apple. And these are very, very nicely perfumed. Of course, being in a rose family. Oh, look at this. Okay, now you can see it. This form, by the way, is very practical for me. Now I can walk around the trees without hitting myself, my eyes get poked with the branches. This tree used to have, as you can see by the scars here, with branches all the way to the bottom. And the trees were much, much more productive. However, I do have plenty of apples and other fruits, and quite happy with it. Before I had hundreds of apples, pounds of apples, and that was also nice. I gave them away, but even now I still have plenty. So this is Liberty. Very, very nice apple. Here is neck-free. Not as productive this year. It does have a few blossoms. I will graft some of my other varieties onto this side maybe. Yeah, one more blossom only there. Oh, here is a nectarine. It's almost over for nectarine, the bloom. And this one did have some, I guess, I don't know if this is a damage or what happened. We did have a temperature that was colder, around 36.7. However, I do notice that some of the blossoms did receive damage. They do have very, very beautiful flowers. They are very uniform and deep purple, pink mixture. This is Arctic nectarine. And here is Belle de Bouscoupe apple. I am so patient with this apple. It is a very late producer, and I knew that when I bought and planted this tree in 2012. So still did not produce any apples. I could not predict that this is gonna happen. It did form very nice spurs everywhere. However, some reason it's still not ready. So hopefully next season. This one was on M111 semi-dwarf, and quite large and sturdy, healthy. Just a very late producer. So if you are looking for an apple that you will taste very soon upon planting, this is not a variety. Here is Calville Blanc, the Hiver. Very good, excellent baking, cooking apple. I'm gonna use that one too to cross-pollinate with another great apples for cooking. I mean, you can eat them also fresh, of course. You can see how they start. The blossoms first have pink coloration. Once they open, then become more white and very faintly colored pink on the outside. But it is a nice producer. I'm very happy with this one. It's hard to see, but all of these branches that you see at the top, they used to be water sprouts. So I was able to, by lowering them down, folding them, to create a very productive tree. Now you can see it. All of these, they used to be tall, like 10 feet tall, and I would just fold them and then secure them to the bottom. All of these. And that's how you can create a productive tree, increase productivity. Okay, this is Haralson apple, also another very productive apple. It is just filled with blossoms. This one I did not prune. Want to make a video. I'm trying to determine, actually I already know, but for you to show which apples are spur producers and which ones are one that produce at the ends. This one is in between. You can see that it has some spurs lower, but also all of these branches that these were supposed to be pruned. Let me show you from far away, and I left them. Now this is too much for this tree. I mean, it's a quite healthy and sturdy tree, it can support, but I would not keep, of course, all of them. So it has to be thinned out, and I will possibly prune these. Haven't decided, maybe I will experiment. You can see at the ends, on each of these, there is a blossom. All right, my next very productive tree is a Bramley, another great cooking apple from England. Just amazing. This one is a dwarf, the smallest tree, and it is just overproductive. I really have to thin out this one since the apples are the largest that I have here. Over, I think, 200 grams easily, 250 grams. So they need to be thinned out. I did not prune this one too much, just to show what is the potential for these apples. Now when they are on this small rootstock, they really need to be protected and thinned and correctly pruned. You can keep all of them or not worry as much if they are on a standard rootstock and they are just kept in a more natural way. But when they are so small and so productive, they really need to be thinned out and made them less productive. I will try to make another video when this one is in full bloom. There will be hundreds and hundreds of apples, potential apples on this small tree. This is only about 6.5 feet in height. So compared to my Haralson apple on this side. And here is Petrovača from my old country, Serbia, the earliest apple that I have. Again, I'm happy to see blossoms on this one very early. This one's gonna produce in June. Summer apple. I like this variety when it's in a green stage. And my last one is a Gold Rush, one of my favorites. Even though this one is a biennial apple, it will produce every second year, especially if it was a good year. Then the next year it tends to take a break, and that's okay. You can see I have a organza back there, just one blossom there. That's it, one group of maybe 4 in a cluster, and I will pollinate those perhaps with a golden russet, another great apple. So just gonna save these for pollen, maybe cross pollinate this one too with another variety that I have here. Gold Rush I can't use. All right, and that's the whole orchard. I'm gonna try to just go one more time from the far away so you can see it. Usually the video will be better in the morning when the sun is on east side over here and then going upwards. Now it's very late in the afternoon, and I'm lucky actually that I do have sun. It was quite cloudy today and yesterday. Okay, looking very nice. I just forgot to mention one more thing. You can see that my trees were whitewashed, and that was a precaution from me. I did not know how the year will go, and it's a traditional way of slowing down the awakening of the trees. So by painting the trunks, this is a lime wash, painting the trunks white, they will reflect the light, will not heat up as much, and in a theory about 3 to 4 days maybe, depending, it can slow down the juice flowing, the sap moving upwards, and potential early bloom on trees. Even one day sometimes can help. Just only matters if a freeze is one day, too early, and that's it. You can lose everything. Here on my peaches and even nectarine here, you can see that the apples were not painted at the top. They are still dark, but the peaches, nectarine, plum, they were also whitewashed here, but I did not use the lime, only surround kaolin clay, which is safer. All right, hope you're gonna have a great growing season. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.